You're listening to The Seed to Success, a podcast presented by Testimonial Tree, where we help grow your business through happy clients. Experts and influencers reveal how to shape your business with your customer's voice, one powerful story at a time.
All right, welcome everybody. My name is Brian Benson, and we are so excited. We have an incredible entrepreneur with us, Allison. She is the founder of WineSociety, but she's also a graphic designer, entrepreneur. She's done a lot of other different things, but she has now created this new company called WineSociety.com, and it's basically premium wine in a can. And here it is. It is beautiful. I'm not kidding you. This is probably some of the best branding I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not joking. Like, everybody in our office has been like, oh my God, this is so cool. So super excited to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's really great to be here as well. I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome.
I
So
love that you have the wine in your hands this morning.
I'm actually going to, take a sip, so just before we kick it off. All right. So starting from scratch, what would you share with the audience on how to help them build their brands? Because honestly, I'll show the box in a second here, but just the can, everything, like you're a branding genius. So kind of go into that with some of these people.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the first thing starting off is just really understanding your customers, knowing what problem you're trying to solve and kind of keeping that the main focus throughout the whole point. We're building this, product for our consumers to solve this problem, whatever your problem might be. And for us, it was the complex market of the wine. It's complex and intimidating, so a lot of people shy away from it. And just really focusing on what's the problem, where they're looking for solutions, and why. So I think those are the really, really main aspects of kind of really building the brand. And you have to stick with those kind of hardcore pieces and don't kind of veer through those. So just making sure you stay on track. There's a lot of other things that can happen. Like, there's a lot of people that have a lot of opinions, and it's great to take feedback, and you have to constantly be learning. But at the same point, you can't get so distracted and veer off of your path and let people kind of, influence and steer. You are the CEO, you are the runner, the main person behind your brand. Why you created it, and you're the main one that needs to get it to where, your vision is taking it. So, kind of sticking with that is really important.
Let me ask you though. So now that you're brand new, getting out there, and that's great advice, but how did you use some of that how do you kind of teeter on that customer feedback line to trusting your own instincts when you're building?
So having your vision in place at first. And then what we did was we had test groups, and cool. we reached out to the consumers in the beginning just to make sure that our vision was in line with what they wanted. And, through those test groups, it kind of helps you stay on track, but you kind of learn little pieces along the way that help you follow that path as well. Mm-hmm. So having these test groups, even anything from, the design of the product to, how you're going to be reaching them, where they want to find your product, and just realizing you're getting those little pinpoints of information and then putting those together to kind of reinforce your path and reinforce your vision.
Yeah. As you were kind of thinking about product market fit and the test groups and the people you were going to really target in this, was there any mistakes along the way that kind of helped you, or, how did you really know, or did you start with a group and then all of a sudden you realize maybe it's a different demographic that we're going after? Like, how did that all play out?
Yeah, there are a lot of mistakes that you make, but the way that I feel about it is that I don't think I would take back making those mistakes, because they're kind of what helps you build and grow. Mistakes and failures are part of kind of the ride. And if I feel like a few things that we did in the company, if we would not have made those mistakes, we wouldn't be where we are today. And I can give you an example. Our label first started out, and we kind of had this avant-garde theme, and it was a little bit more, it was on the kind of the sexy and bold, but not too over the top. It was kind of like playing on fine line. We used those test groups to really help us, like I said, kind of stay on track. And so we knew we wanted to be bold and beautiful and confident, but we were veering too much off the path and getting too much on kind of the sexy aspect. And it wasn't right for our brand. And so it kind of brought us back around, and we were able to create, like you showed the can earlier, it is still a beautiful, and the color is just gorgeous, and it is still a sexy brand without being over the top, and it's all done with design and color and a really simple approach. So the mistake we made before was going too far over that aspect, utilizing actual photos and, becoming, our label was too complex. And we actually had an advisor step in and asked us, like, are you in love with this? Like, is this your brand? And it took us a minute to kind of refocus and get back down and, really focus in it and be like, oh my gosh, we veered off a little bit too far. We took that consumer feedback a little bit too much the wrong way, and we need to get back on track. So now I would not take that back, because our labels wouldn't be what they were today if we didn't go totally in the opposite direction.
Yeah. I mean, so how do you deal with that customer feedback, and how did that more continue to drive not only like the brand and the taste and the the packaging, but just like the culture of what you guys are as a brand?
Yeah, I mean, knowing our consumers, like, we are millennials, and we are building a brand for the next upcoming millennial generation that is wine consumers. Mm-hmm. And so living in that experience and knowing kind of what we want as well, and being able to know kind of, feedback and from these test groups, and knowing that it is a common denominator, and just reinforcing that fact with what our problem is, how we're going to solve it, and, where we're going to be able to be located to find these different solutions is really important to us. So I think knowing it and living it has been a real strength that we've had, and being able to relay that to our consumers and provide a product that is dealing with the situations that they've, had problems with has really been important to us.
Yeah. What was the big problem that you guys really noticed? Obviously, I mean, I can name a few, but what were some of the early things? Yeah, I mean, I can, but I mean, what were the early things that you saw? Like, was this a pain for you as like a consumer of your own product? I mean, like, where did that all come about?
Yes, I think I always say, we built WineSociety based on our own experience. We're from the Midwest, and, now that we're in California, obviously we've gone to Napa Valley. And honestly, like in 2013, when we first started traveling here, we did not drink any wine. And we were a little bit intimidated to go at first. And then we just realized this amazing experience that was out here, and it was less intimidating. You walk in, I remember the first winery we were at, they were playing music, and it just lured you in. People were laughing. You ended up talking to people at the bar. It was just like a great experience. And if you wanted to learn more, you could ask the taster, the taste pourer, for more advice. But, we kind of just really got into this groove, and we realized it was missing in Ohio and the Midwest, and people that didn't have access to Napa Valley. So that was one of the issues. We experienced it firsthand, and then also experiencing that sometimes 750 mLs is just a little too much. You get to the end of the bottle, there's that much left, and you're like, all right, well, we got to finish it. Yeah. So, and then once you finish it, you're like, well, do we open another bottle? So we've kind of really, we honed in on that and realized, what if we come up with a solution that's, it's a 500 ml. It's just enough if you want to sort of indulge without overindulging, or to share with friends. It is like the perfect amount. And then the price point that it's at, you don't feel guilty about popping another one open if you decide you want more. And then I think that the third thing was, just the packaging. There's a lot of alternative packaging that has started to come out, but the consumers want to know they want to know what product they're drinking. And a lot of the other brands now, it's kind of confusing. Are you a craft beer? Are you an energy drink? And these are all wine products. So that was another thing that really we focused in on the label, and really making sure that we could stand alone and be noticed and recognized as, oh, that makes sense. It's wine.
Yeah. And I love how you kind of spoke about experience a lot here, because you're not only delivering a cool brand, a great product, but like even just the whole experience of, I'm just going to show this. It comes in this awesome box here. And then when it opens up, we drank all the cans, because I'm from Ohio too. So we're always used to
Awesome.
So anyway, but it comes in, it's got all the cans. But what I noticed, I was like, this is the coolest part. These little sayings that you put in here, like, you and your largest glass, like, your next order in a group of friends, holidays and in-laws. Like it's super clever down to the very fine detail. Is that just from your background as an entrepreneur and what you've done in the past? Or, how did all that branding come about? Like, how did you even think of something even just as small as that?
Sure. Well, kind of really engaging with our consumers and really getting that connection was really, really important and one of our main aspects that we were working towards in the very beginning. And we did not want to be the wine company to where we were educating on this Pinot Noir pairs best with this food or this cheese. Like, it's so typical and traditional. We wanted to pair it with something that was actually an experience. So like face masks and reruns, or whatever the thing is.
My
face masks and
favorite
pajamas.
Yeah.
So it's all different aspects and things that you experience every day. Brunches and besties, and just little things that people can actually relate to. And then they can see themselves enjoying a great, beverage of wine at those occasions. So that was one of the main things that kind of made us really hone in on that and see what people do in their daily lives and how we could relate wine to those experiences.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I just thought that was extremely clever. So kudos to you for that. That was awesome. Let's kind of dive into a little bit of the challenge aspect of this. What has been your biggest challenge as an entrepreneur? And what's the kind of the learning lesson you've taken away from it?
Yeah, there's a lot. Being an entrepreneur, being a startup CEO, anything that you do, it's hard. And it's easy to kind of get, distracted and, kind of down on yourself or feel defeated. It's very, very easy, but you need to make sure that I think the main thing is, learning to ask for help. It's easy to kind of get swallowed up and think you can do everything, especially a lot of entrepreneurs feel that they are, strong and bold, and it's great, but be sure that you reach out. There's an amazing community. And, as a startup entrepreneur and CEO, I was just amazed at how willing these other leaders were at sharing information. Like, they have been in similar situations, even if it's in a different industry, it can all be related back to what you're doing. And they're just so willing to help, and they want to see you succeed. So, success is best when, you see others succeed and kind of you build this great, successful community. So I think that's the main point, is learning to ask for help and knowing when to ask for help. And then also, going with your gut. In the beginning, we had this simple set and we kind of got distracted a little bit. And at the end, we're like, shoot, we should have done it. We knew what we wanted, and we knew our brand, and we knew our purpose, and we got distracted. So bringing it back and just knowing to trust yourself. Don't always get distracted and kind of veer off. Just trust your gut and know your vision. And hiring the right people. It goes along, with the same thing. Hiring the right team that has the cultural fit, that has the drive, that has the skills, and believes in your vision. You need people behind you that, really understand and believe what you're doing, and will be back, there to back you up the whole time and get you to where you need to be. And then I think the other final thing that is really hard as a especially a startup company, is the work-life balance. It's something that probably gets overlooked a little bit. And it's I work, probably ask my husband, I work over 12 hours a day. I've only recently started to try to take Sundays off. And it's hard. It is a full time. It is your baby, and you will do anything that you can to make it succeed. But you have to know when to stop and recharge, because it's really easy to get kind of worn down, and you need to really make sure that you, take time for yourself and take time for your family. So it'll make everything a lot more well-rounded and allow you to do your job a lot better.
Yeah, talk to me. There was so much good advice in there and so many great points, and I want to kind of bring them out. But, talk to me about when you do feel distracted or feel burnout or feel some of those moments coming on, as you just kind of alluded to, like, what do you do to help you kind of get back into the game and get refocused?
Sure. So I've always been really into fitness, and in starting WineSociety, that has kind of taken a little drop, because I wasn't putting myself first. and I wasn't focusing on what I needed to be, mentally really happy. So getting back into, I love to run. I'm a runner. I used to do races and half marathons, and I let that fall behind. So it's really important to keep the things that make you happy in your daily routine. Block it on your calendar. I time block all the time. So now I have a fitness block and my favorite thing, if I need to clear my head, or if I need to, have a situation that kind of has me a little bit, I need to think about it for a minute, I go for a long run. Running is so refreshing and revitalizing. So I go for a run. Or another thing, if I only have like a few minutes, then I love the Headspace app. So I'll do a little meditation and just clear my mind. Light a candle, do a little meditation, and just reset for that moment or for that day.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So let's talk about the other part when you first were answering that last question, was the hiring of the right people, hiring around the culture. What are some things that you do to ensure that you get those types of people? What's the interview process like? What do you look for?
Yeah. So it's a process that shouldn't be rushed, especially like right now we're actually in the process of hiring, on the executive level, and you don't want to rush that process. It is, we've already gone through multiple interviews, and we also interview, the couples, like the husband or wife of who we're interviewing. We want to see how they are, not only in the office, but also at home, and understand what's important to them, their work-life balance. We always make sure that we're super open, letting them know, especially like a startup is hard. And we try to look for people that are, hungry, and we are flat out open with, hey, this is not a 9 to 5. So being very open, and that way you make sure that there is no, muddy waters in what's expected and what people are, hoping the job would actually be. So working on that. And then what else? There's a lot. Hiring the right people. The cultural fit is huge as well. We are just a vibrant, fast-paced kind of company. And not to say that you have to really learn that you don't need all people to be exactly the same. Like, my whole company won't be exactly how I am, because you have to have other people that offset your strengths. Just as my husband and I, we work together on a lot of things, and we are complete opposites, but together we're like power couple. So you need to learn to hire people that can, increase and take over where you're not as strong, and vice versa. So having somebody that when you're together, you're just you mesh really well and cover all bases.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I love that. And I've never heard that before. Like, especially when you're in a startup, like hiring people or making sure they understand how hard it actually is, how the time, and you actually speaking with the spouses is sort of an interesting concept there. So I thought that was cool. Can you share some insights on how you kind of created the business model and sort of ultimately chose it? Because clearly, you kind of have a subscription, but you can also just sort of buy it, like one off. But, was there ever like a retail play? Like, what was sort of the mindset behind the way that you guys chose that model?
Yeah. So I think what's really important for us, and anything that we've done, you kind of start with your strengths. What do you know the best? What do you know that you can implement? And what areas do you know that you can find the right people to support you and help you through the way? So for us in WineSociety, our strength, being a designer, I knew that I could, run with the product. I knew that I could deliver a product that was what our consumers was looking for, which was something that was a little bit more simple, not as intimidating, still beautiful. And for this millennial generation, it has to be Instagram worthy. And then with my husband also co-founded the company with me. So his strengths are, the e-commerce and the technology, and kind of getting that passion and the user experience. So all kind of more on the website, and really engaging and finding how to deliver a premium product to our consumers. So again, both of those two strengths kind of put together is kind of how we ended up with WineSociety. And honestly, because the wine piece, it's kind of a double-edged sword. We are not wine experts by any means. Like, I don't know all of the industry jargon, and I am flat out honest about that. But the thing I do know is I know what I like, I know what our target consumers are looking for through, personal experience and through, the testing and questioning. And I know how to kind of get it there. And it's really important to kind of put all those pieces together to make a really strong company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think what I'm hearing a lot of that's kind of been an overarching theme is how much you listen to your customers and how much you listened to yourself and knew what knew your strengths, but you also had like a lot of great influences around you, which I think is really cool. Last couple questions here is, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently in starting?
Man, I think you really have to fail forward. That was one of the values that was in my husband's last company, and it has stuck with me to the point. I used to be afraid to fail, and I think a lot of people are. So you've got to be not afraid to fail. Failures aren't always bad. Failures can get you further than you could ever imagine and to get you where you actually envisioned. So for us, it was with our labels. We failed first we got too headstrong and too kind of close to the product. And we had to just take a 360 view and step back and really take a breath and refocus. So I honestly, our labels wouldn't be what they are today if we didn't have that mistake. So I honestly don't think I would take that back. There's a few little things along the way that I would maybe not choose, maybe not procrastinate as much on some things and like, oh my gosh, I have to get this transport out like tomorrow. So different things like that would definitely change mistakes, and just you have to stay organized. And, being a small company and a startup and not having a huge team, you're wearing multiple hats and it's really easy to kind of get overwhelmed. So I think that's one of the things that I would definitely improve on, is just making sure, just staying clear and concise and organized from the very beginning, so you don't get backlogged and you don't get overwhelmed. Because honestly, that has happened, and you've got to just regroup, take a breath, and get back on track.
Yeah, I love it. So last two here is, what do you do on a daily basis? Or maybe there's just one story on how you wowed your customer. I mean, you wowed us with your brand and everything, but is there something else that you did that you feel that was really important to wowing your customers to turn them into raving fans?
Mm-hmm. So again, it goes back to that experience. I believe, and at WineSociety, we believe that it's not just wine. It's not just a product. It's the entire experience, from how you receive it, how you order it, how easy it is to order online, from when it arrives at your door, and that great feeling you have when you're like, oh my gosh, I got this cool package that I'm excited to open. And then it's so pretty and it's so cool, I'm going to leave it on my counter. When we were designing, that was another factor. We're like, it has to be counter worthy. So, that was really important to us. And just that entire experience, from also to the taste, like it is a quality wine in cans. And we wanted to be the first to kind of prove that even though it's in a different vessel that people aren't used to, it doesn't mean that it's not as good. Like this wine it's amazing and it's great quality, and it comes from some amazing, wineries in the Napa region and all of, mid to Northern California. So the total experience was important for us, and to have people have something that they could feel confident about and to share, that they wanted to share with others, because that's the beauty of community, finding something you love and bringing other people into that.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I mean, if you're listening or watching, like, go to WineSociety.com and check them out. You're going to love it. I mean, I guess maybe it's summer, so I'm just all about the rosé. I don't know. It's delicious. I'm all in on that. So it's all really good. But the last thing is what 2 or 3 pieces of advice, since this is the Seed to Success podcast, what 2 or 3 pieces of advice would you give to other business owners to plant the seed for success?
Sure. I think follow your passion is the biggest thing. Find something you're passionate about, see how you can implement it, and don't just let it linger. You need to go out and get it. It's hard work. So that, and then, just maintaining that work-life balance again is really important. No matter what you get into, make sure you stay focused and don't forget about yourself and your family and the importance there. And then the third team is just surrounding yourself with with great people that you can learn and absorb from. Information is all around us, and you need to kind of just, be an endless sponge and take it all in, but know where to implement.
Cool. I love it. Well, Angela, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all the advice, and thank you for just being so open and honest and authentic with us today. Check out WineSociety.com. It's so worth it. You guys will absolutely love it. Premium wine in a can. It's unbelievable. I'll drink out of the can right now. But it's so tasty. I promise you the experience is definitely worth it. So please go and give them a follow on Instagram. Throw out some of the social links real quick.
Yeah, we're at Wine Society Life on Instagram. And then I am at Smiling Stiletto. And then we are on Facebook at Wine Society. And then I think we also have Twitter.
Cool. Well, check them out. They're on all the social channels, but check out their website. It really is easy to order, and it does ship beautifully to your house, and it is counter worthy. I can tell you that much. So thank you all for joining today, and thank you, Angela. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Brian. It's been a pleasure.
You're listening to The Seed to Success, a podcast presented by Testimonial Tree, where we help grow your business through happy clients. Experts and influencers reveal how to shape your business with your customer's voice, one powerful story at a time.